So were you getting all your information from Hustle Buddies? Or is there other,
No,
or was there courses that you took?
I never took a course. I did a
No.
lot of research on YouTube, which
No.
back then, before the big pandemic, there wasn't a lot of information out there like there is now. You can
Yes.
find information for anything, but even like ungating, it's so simple now. But
Yes.
back then, it was this huge secret. And
Right.
you'd get kicked out of groups if you asked, how do you ungate Nike? Like that was the
Yeah.
thing.
I,
Um,
when I joined Flipseek and I saw like all their ungating guides, it felt like I was like gotten a gold mine. You know what I
right.
mean? Because I thought it
Yes.
was so difficult. You know.
And it's just so not. So that's interesting. But my biggest growth was forming a mastermind with some other sellers. We kind of learn together, and as you learn, you share, and then they share what they're doing. So collectively, you can really accomplish a lot with all of that different information. So
Right.
that's kind of where I learned the most.
And it's probably more important in those early stages because there wasn't a plethora of information there is now.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah,
that's
for
awesome.
sure.
Okay, so I think you kind of mentioned it earlier. So what is your primary business model as far as Amazon FBA goes? Is it FBM? I know you said you do a lot of RA. Do you still ship those out to fulfillment center, or do you usually merchant fulfill those?
We do a lot.
Mm.
So with FBM specifically, we do that from we have a little warehouse. I still do FBA. I love FBA. Most of our items are FBA, but as far as sourcing goes, I do a lot of RA, but I've been transitioning to OA. So I'm probably about maybe 50-50 now, with my goal to be all OA.
Okay.
It's just easier for me because I have all these other platforms that I'm doing and communities that I'm running and all this other stuff. So
Yeah.
being able to be OA gives me freedom of time. I
Right.
love RA margins. They're amazing, but it's your
Right.
time.
It's not even just for me. I don't do nearly as much RA as I used to. I'm pretty much like 90% OA. Um,
Nice.
However, I've found myself kind of gravitating a lot through FBM than OA as of late.
Oh, wow.
It's usually the things I'll merchant fulfill is usually like things that are worth it, like smaller items
Sure.
with higher value.
Mhm.
Like a lot of
Yeah.
vitamins and stuff like that. Mainly because I've noticed a lot of these listings when there's a sale, it's almost not even worth it to send it in because by the time it gets checked in, it's already saturated and the price is tanked.
Yeah.
It's
There's
almost
truth
like
to that.
if you really want to profit, make it worth your while, just FBM, right?
I
So
think that's probably a benefit to RA too is not everyone has that clearance sale that you're
right.
hitting, where OA, we all have the same sale. It's just a matter of finding the ASIN. So
Right, right. And some of the OA items too, like they're not just sales. Those are like my actual replans where I'm not really worried about the price tanking. Is those consistent ones that aren't on sale? If anything, if they get on sale, I'm kind of concerned.
yeah, sure. Someone's gonna find it.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so as far as RA, how do you find the time to do that? Because honestly, most people I speak with, they are kind of more away from RA, right? They kind of go towards OA because of the time commitment. So
Mhm.
how are you able to balance RA with everything else that you got going on?
That's always been something I've struggled with.
Yeah.
So back then when I
Well, but
first
no, wait,
started,
let me stop you. What
okay,
percentage are you RA?
I'd say probably 50-50 right now.
Okay, okay, okay. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Um, so back when I started, when I would drop my kids off to an activity or they were in school or something, I would source constantly while they were in their activity or school.
Okay.
And that would take me to other cities too, because they both did sports. So when they were at a football something or other, I would go and source new stores.
Hmm.
Today, fast forward, I have to schedule it out. So say Tuesdays is my sourcing day, then I'm going to
Mhm.
go out from 9 to 5 on Tuesday and hit the same stores that I know I can find items at.
Okay.
um, for me, after all these years, I've made really good manager relationships and connections.
There you go.
So RA for me looks different than what RA would look like for a new seller.
Right.
These managers will text me and say, "Hey, look what I've got. Do you want it?" Yes, I
Wow.
do, or no, I don't. And then I just go pick it up. So
Nice.
that's changed for me a lot. And part of my growth was definitely due to those connections with managers for sure.
So you were probably pretty transparent with them when they asked what you were doing, because I'm sure
Oh,
you were
yeah.
kind of there for a while, and
Yep.
they probably started talking to them, right?
Yes, it's a slow friendship, but eventually, yeah, they wanna move this stuff out of their stores,
Right.
and I'm willing to do that for them, but yeah, it's just a friendship, and then it becomes great for both parties.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, if you're a new seller and you're watching this, it's going to take some time for sure to have that kind of relationship. I'd imagine
Yeah.
at first, how long did it take before you got like that first like relationship at a store?
I mean, showing your face consistently over a couple months,
Yeah.
and I would go weekly and always be kind, clean up after yourself. I've
Yeah.
seen resellers that go through the aisles and they trash it.
Yeah.
So if your goal is to kinda get on that manager's good side so they'll let you in the back room,
Yeah.
clean up the aisles while you're in them. Return the carts. That's huge to, specific stores. So
Right.
little
So
things go a long way.
so talk me through that, like, that first conversation. Like, would they first be did they see you with the abundant amount of clothes or abundant amount of, like, items, and they ask straight up, like, "Hey, are you reselling these items?" Or
Yeah, most of them do, they know.
okay.
They understand what
Yeah, they're
reselling
fine.
is, especially at a place like Ollie's, say.
Yeah.
You're gonna show up consistently weekly with a cart full of stuff. Eventually, they're gonna say, "Where are you selling this?" or "What are you doing with this?" And,
Yeah.
"Oh, I flip it on Amazon," or whatever
Yeah.
it might be. And they're like, "Well, I've got more of that in the back. Do you want some?" And,
Yeah.
"Yes, I do." I mean,
Right.
sometimes I couldn't even profit off of what they were suggesting, but I did it just to kinda get my foot
Oh,
in the
yeah.
door and
Yeah.
show them that I was willing to help them as well.
Right.
So it's just like I imagine it's just like working with a wholesale,
Mhm.
rep. No
Right.
different. You're building that relationship. Even if you're not making a ton of money at first, eventually in the long run, that will pay off.
Right, right. It's a mutual benefit. It's
Yeah,
almost
for
like,
sure.
yeah, they're a sales rep, and you might take
Mhm.
some L's to help them out here and there, but
Right.
overall, you guys are both benefiting from it. So
Definitely, yeah.
awesome, awesome. So what is you've kinda touched upon it a little bit, but what is your most preferred category to sell, through Amazon FBA or FBM?
So, beauty was my preferred category for the longest time.
Yeah,
With all the brands that are getting restricted, I'm having to step outside my comfort zone.
yeah,
So I'm looking at shoes and clothing a little bit more. I like household. I love I love shopping at like Lowe's or Home Depot and looking at, those items that are I guess what would that be considered? I don't even know what category that's considered to be, but
mm.
like knobs for
Your tools, some
yeah, I don't know what Amazon calls it, but
yeah,
that.
yeah, 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 yeah,
There is a like tools, we've sold so many tools,
yeah,
and I feel like people aren't looking there.
and people
So
don't return those kinda tools either for the most
mm-mm,
part, you know?
no. You get a lot of businesses that order that kinda stuff, so they'll order
Right,
more than one, which I
right,
love that, and, like, tools would be something we FBM because it's so heavy.
yeah,
We've done a lot of FBM tools, but yeah, like Home Depot and Lowe's when they have that, like, buy one, get one free or buy this saw and you
mhm.
get a battery, you can do a lot of damage with those sales.
Yeah. No, and I agree with you. I think, for me, it used to be actually shoes because I was so comfortable selling shoes because I was reselling shoes before Amazon.
Sure.
But for me personally, now I won't even touch a shoe if it's not at least like 40-50%, as I was just getting torched with returns,
Yeah,
early
no
on.
thanks.
I will say apparel wasn't as much, but you would think apparel would be just as bad as shoes, but shoes was just much worse.
It's
And
oh
I'll still just sell shoes now, but one of my, like, transition periods was really stepping away from shoes and kinda getting out of my comfort zone as well, and actually stepping into, like, beauty and supplements, vitamins, and things that were just, like, smaller, but still had
yes,
high value because you have those
yes.
low shipping fees and whatnot. Um, to just kind of respond to what you were saying, like, beauty, yeah, a lot of brands that, people have been selling for a while, they're getting gated,
Re
restricted even worse.
restricted, like
Yeah,
red restricted,
yeah,
so
yeah.
the
I
landscape's changing.
there is still, like, just an abundant amount of beauty where
Oh,
you'll
yeah.
find some new, like, low key ones that may
Mhm.
not have as many offers
Yep,
as your bigger ones that are getting gated. Um,
definitely. So I still love beauty. That's most of our sales is beauty still.
yeah, and then households and those kind of
Mhm.
things are also I think some of them are non-returnable, right? So that always helps. And see, that's another thing I like FBM is those non-returnable items, there's no you can make the exception or you don't have to make the exception. Where
Hazmat, love hazmat.
yeah, yeah, but whereas, like well, I'm saying just there's certain things that aren't hazmat that are not the customers aren't able to return it, like just those, what is it? I think lotion, stuff like that. I know vitamins for sure. I'm not sure about lotion
Okay.
stuff, but
Yeah, you never know with Amazon too because I've definitely gotten returns on lotion, but
if
yeah,
you
I see
FBA
what
it,
you're saying.
yeah, if you FBA it, they'll go and, like, just replace it and everything. I'm just like,
Oh, I
"Dude,
know.
this is
That's
literally non-returnable."
yeah.
It's